On Christmas Eve, my mom unwrapped my daughter's handmade gift and sneered, "I don't take presents from kids who don't belong to this family." My daughter just blinked, but my son stood up, looked her dead in the eye, and said one thing that made my parents go pale. "Now you know how it feels." I never planned to write this. Hell, I don't even know where to begin. But I've been sitting with it, chewing on it for almost 3 years, and it's still sitting in my chest like a brick I can't swallow. So here goes. I'm just gonna tell it straight. This happened on Christmas Eve, at my parents' house in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Not a fancy neighborhood, just your regular middle-class place with those narrow two-story homes, cracked driveways, and the same red bows and plastic reindeer people have been putting up since the 90s. We always spent Christmas Eve there. It was tradition, whether we liked it or not. My wife never loved going, but she went anyway for me. She's always tried to keep the peace. I used to do the same, not anymore. My parents have always had their issues, but the big one, the one that blew everything up, has always been how they treat my daughter. Leela. She's 6 now. She was 3 when I met her. My wife had her from her first marriage, but I adopted her legally not long after we got married. And not just legally, I raised her. Changed her diapers, sat with her when she had nightmares, taught her how to ride a bike, everything. She's my daughter, period, but not to my mom. To my mom, Leela was always her daughter. She never said it outright, but it was there. In the way she hesitated when introducing her. In the way she gave Eli, my son, all this extra affection, extra gifts, extra attention, and barely looked at Leela. The way she'd say, "Well, you know, she's not blood." Like that somehow made it okay to treat her like a visitor in her own family. I told myself she'd come around, that she just needed time. I was wrong. So Christmas Eve rolls around. We drive over, kids in the backseat, holding their little handmade presents. You know, the kind kids make in school. Glitter, macaroni, paper cutouts, bad spelling. They were both proud, both excited. Leela especially. She'd worked on this gift for days. A little jewelry box made out of a shoebox and wrapped in green construction paper. She glued on some pasta shells and little rhinestones and wrote to Grandma in purple marker. She couldn't stop talking about it. We get there and everything seems normal at first. Trees up. Lights are blinking. Bing Crosby on the radio. My dad's in his recliner nursing a Coors Light. My mom's in the kitchen, giving my wife that fake smile she always does, like she's hosting a guest, not welcoming family. The kids go straight to the tree, looking for presents with their names on them. My mom's made a big show of handing out the family gifts. Everyone's sitting around watching each other open stuff. Eventually, it's Leela's turn. She stands up, tiny little thing in her red dress with the white collar, and walks over to my mom with both hands holding that little box. She's got the sweetest smile on her face. She says, "I made this for you, Grandma," and my mom just stares at her. Doesn't move, doesn't reach for it. I see the shift in her eyes, like something just turned off inside her. She looks down at the box, then back up at Leela, and she lets out this short, dry laugh. Not amused, not kind, just cold, then she says it. "I don't take presents from kids who don't belong to this family." I swear to God. That's what came out of her mouth, and it hit like a gunshot. Nobody said anything. Nobody could. My wife's mouth dropped open. My brother froze. My dad pretended to take a sip of his beer, but he wasn't fooling anyone. And Leela. She just blinked. Once, twice. No tears, no frown, just blank, like she didn't know how to react, like her brain couldn't process what just happened. And then, without saying a word, she walked over to the coffee table and set the box down. Sat back down on the carpet. Folded her little hands in her lap. Eyes down. I wanted to lose it. I felt the heat in my neck, in my chest. But before I could even open my mouth, Eli stood up. He's 9, just a kid. But the way he moved, you'd think he was 30. He walked right over to my mom. Quiet, steady, looked her dead in the eye and said, "Then you don't get anything from me either. Because if Leela's not family, then I'm not either." And that was it. No yelling, no drama, just that one sentence. And the room went still, dead still. My mom's face drained of color, like she'd seen a ghost. My dad shifted in his chair like he wanted to say something but couldn't find the words. My brother looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. Eli didn't wait for a response. He turned around, picked up the ornament he made. It was this clumpy thing with glitter and a snowman on it, walked over to Leela and held it out to her. "Merry Christmas," he said, and she smiled. Not a big smile, not a loud one, just a small, real smile. The only one she gave all night. I still hadn't moved. I think I was in shock. Then I stood up. And I looked at my mom. I mean really looked at her, and I said, "What the hell is wrong with you?" She opened her mouth. Probably had some excuse lined up, but I wasn't interested. I picked up Leela's gift, still sitting unopened. My wife stood up next to me. Said nothing, just grabbed the diaper bag and the coats. Eli helped his sister with her shoes. My mom tried to backtrack. "I didn't mean it like that," she said. "You're overreacting." "I just meant," but I didn't want to hear it. I didn't care what she meant. The damage was done. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. But what I said next made sure they knew this wasn't going away. I turned to her. Still holding Leela's gift in my hand, this little green box with tape peeling at the corners. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't have to. "You just told a 6-year-old she doesn't belong." She opened her mouth again, probably to deny it, probably to spin it into something softer. But I didn't let her. "No, don't. Don't even start. You said what you said, Mom, and we all heard it." I looked around the room. My brother was pretending to check his phone. His wife was sitting stiff as a board, like a guest who knew she walked into something too personal. My dad kept drinking his beer like it would make him disappear. Cowards, every single one of them. Leela was still sitting on the floor, holding that ornament Eli gave her, looking down at it like it was made of gold. And my chest, man, my chest felt like it was splitting open. I turned to my wife. She nodded, didn't even have to speak. We were on the same page. We got the kids bundled up. Coats, boots, all of it, it was quiet as hell. No one moved. No one said a thing, until my dad finally stood up. "You're blowing this way out of proportion," he said, like he was giving me life advice. Like I was the unstable one here. I just stared at him. "She's 6, Dad," I said. 6, and you let your wife treat her like trash in front of everyone." My mom stepped in, voice raised now, defensive. "Don't talk about me like I'm not here." "Oh, trust me, I wish you weren't." That landed hard. Her eyes went glassy, but I didn't care. That ship had sailed. Then came the twist I didn't expect. The one that still pisses me off every time I think about it. My brother finally spoke. "I mean." "She's not wrong," he muttered. I turned to him. "What did you just say?" He wouldn't even look at me. "Leela's not. Technically blood, man. Maybe Mom didn't say it the right way, but it's not like she's just being mean." I took a step toward him. "Say that again, out loud, in front of my daughter." He threw up his hands. "I'm just saying maybe it's not worth tearing the family apart over a misunderstanding." I laughed, out loud. A bitter, ugly laugh I didn't even recognize coming out of my own throat. "A misunderstanding," I pointed at Leela. "She gave your mother a Christmas gift, and your mother humiliated her, in front of the whole family. That's not a misunderstanding, that's cruelty." "She's a kid," Eli said, stepping forward again. "She didn't do anything wrong." I looked down at him. I swear he looked older than 9 right then. Stronger. Like he'd just seen something he couldn't unsee and he was never gonna forget it. "You're right," I said to him. "She didn't." I turned back to my brother. "I've made excuses for you my whole life. Your laziness, your snide comments, your cheap shots at my wife. I let all that slide, but you don't get to talk about my daughter like she's less." He scoffed. "You're acting like she's yours." I lost it. I walked right up to him, inches from his face. "She is mine." He stepped back, didn't say another word. We left, didn't say goodbye, didn't take our gifts, didn't even put on Christmas music in the car, just silence. Leela fell asleep before we got home, clutching that stupid ornament. Eli stayed quiet the whole ride, eyes out the window, not blinking much. I got the kids into bed. My wife poured 2 glasses of wine and handed me one without saying a word. Then she sat next to me on the couch and whispered. I knew they didn't fully accept her, but I didn't think it would go this far. I shook my head. I did, I just didn't want to believe it. We sat there like that, no tree lights on. No fire in the fireplace, just 2 exhausted parents and a mountain of broken trust. I thought that was the end of it, but I was wrong. The next day, Christmas morning, I woke up to 3 missed calls from my mom, 2 voicemails. One from her, one from my dad, then a text from my brother. "If you're planning to skip Christmas Day too, you better think twice." I showed it to my wife. She read it, shook her head and said, "What the hell does that mean?" I didn't know. But something told me this wasn't over. Then, around noon, my doorbell rang. And when I opened it, I didn't see who I expected. It wasn't my mom. It wasn't my dad. It was my uncle, her brother, and he was holding a manila envelope. He looked uncomfortable as hell. Said he was just dropping something off. Handed me the envelope and left without saying more than 10 words. Inside, a copy of a will, an old one, from before I got married, before Leela was in my life. I hadn't seen it in years. And the message was loud and clear. My mom had been planning to leave part of the family house to me and my brother. But a handwritten note was paperclipped to it, dated last week, with one line scribbled in her scratchy cursive. Not for a man who lets strangers call him dad. I sat there at the kitchen table, just staring at those words. Strangers, that's what she called my daughter. And that's when I realized we were never her family to begin with. I just sat there, staring at that envelope. I didn't even touch the paper at first. I just stared at it like it was a bomb I didn't know how to defuse. My wife stood behind me, silent, reading over my shoulder. Strangers, she said, barely above a whisper. She actually wrote that, I nodded, last week. She already planned this. I looked up at her. She planned everything. She didn't just say that stuff to Leela in the heat of the moment. She's been thinking it, writing it. My wife walked out of the kitchen. She didn't say anything else. Just went to check on the kids. I think she didn't want me to see her cry. That was Christmas Day. I thought that was the bottom. That maybe now we could just cut ties clean and move forward. But turns out the bottom had a basement. Because 2 days later I got another call. This time from Leela's school, the principal. She said she didn't want to worry me, but something had happened. Apparently, someone had called the school office and told them that Leela might not be safe at home. Said she was living in a house with people who aren't really her family. Used those exact words. I swear to God, I dropped the phone. I picked it back up and asked, "Who called?" She hesitated. "Sir, I can't legally say." "It was my mother," I said. She paused. "I really can't say." That told me everything I needed to know. I drove straight there, picked up Leela. The principal was polite, professional, even apologetic, but the damage was done. Someone had tried to make a report. Someone had used those same words, not her real family, as some kind of warning, like we were dangerous, like we were strangers, like I wasn't the man who held her in the hospital when she broke her arm, like I wasn't the one who carried her when she was sick, or who read her stories every night. I was shaking so bad my keys dropped twice in the parking lot. When we got home, my wife already had Eli in the living room. She looked at me, saw Leela's face, saw mine, and just said, "What happened now?" I told her. Everything, the phone call, the phrasing, the tone. And then she said something I hadn't even considered. "I think they're trying to build a case." I blinked. "What kind of case?" She didn't answer right away. She just picked up her phone, opened her email, and showed me the message she'd just gotten that morning. It was from my brother's wife. Just a short, ugly little message. "If you keep pushing this, don't be surprised if someone pushes back. Families stick together. You two chose not to." That's when it clicked. They weren't just mad we walked out. They were angry we didn't fall back in line. And now they were trying to punish us. Not with yelling, not with direct threats, with whispers, rumors, phone calls to the school, emails, quiet conversations behind closed doors. They wanted to paint us as unstable, unfit, like we were ungrateful children who turned their backs on their kind old parents and didn't deserve to raise our non-blood daughter. It was all manipulation. Slow, quiet manipulation. And I knew exactly who was pulling the strings. My mom. She's always been the quiet kind of cruel, never one to scream or throw things. She uses words like poison, small doses, but they sink in deep. She'd do anything to get the last word, even if it meant throwing her granddaughter under the bus. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to show up at her house and scream in her face. The other part of me wanted to lawyer up and make sure nothing could touch my daughter. But what I did do that night, I opened the closet, dug out the plastic storage bin where we kept old documents, and pulled out every adoption paper I had. Originals, copies, certified stamps. I laid them all out on the table like war plans. Then I made a folder labeled for Leela. I wrote her full name across the front in big black marker. Leela Grace, my last name. No asterisk, no footnote, no apologies because she is mine. I wanted something she could hold one day if this crap ever reached her ears. Something that said, "You've always belonged. Don't let them convince you otherwise." I went to bed that night with a knot in my gut. And then, just when I thought maybe things would start to quiet down, they got louder. 2 days later, my wife gets a text from a friend of hers, a screenshot. It was a Facebook post from my mom, public. One of those long, self-pitying things filled with vague language. It's heartbreaking when family chooses strangers over their own blood. Some wounds may never heal. Some choices cannot be undone. All we ever did was love them. And below that, comments. Dozens of them, old neighbors, church friends, distant relatives we haven't spoken to in years, all saying stuff like, "You don't deserve this. Some kids are just ungrateful. Family isn't what it used to be. You're better off without them." And one from my aunt, her sister, "You always told me she'd come between you and your son." You were right. My wife just sat there staring at the screen. She didn't say a word. Neither did I, because right then we realized they were building an army. I didn't sleep that night, not because I was angry, not even because I was scared. It was because something inside me finally snapped. Not loud, not explosive, just quiet and final, like a door closing that was never opening again. I realized something sitting there in the dark, staring at the ceiling. My mom didn't want us back. She wanted control. She wanted me to come crawling, apologize, admit I was wrong, admit Leela was a mistake, admit my wife was a phase, admit blood mattered more than love. And when I didn't do that, she went after the only thing she knew would hurt me worse than anything else. My kids. That's when I stopped reacting and started planning. The first thing I did was call a lawyer. Not a dramatic one, not a TV one, just a calm woman with glasses who listened without interrupting while I laid everything out. Christmas Eve, the will, the school call, the Facebook post. When I finished, she leaned back and said something I'll never forget. "You don't need revenge," she said. "You need records." So we started building them. Every text, every email, screenshots of the Facebook post, names, dates, times. The school call logged, the exact wording used. Then she asked, "Does your mother attend church regularly?" I nodded. "Every Sunday, same one for 30 years. She smiled. "Just a little, here's the part I didn't expect." A week later, the lawyer called me. "Your mother made a mistake," she said. "What kind?" "She put something in writing she shouldn't have." Turns out my mom had sent an email to her church's family outreach group. She thought it was private. Prayer request type thing. It wasn't. In it, she wrote in her own words that she was worried about a child living with adults who aren't truly her family, and that she feared Leela was being confused about her identity. No names. But enough details that anyone who knew us would know exactly who she meant. The lawyer didn't waste time. Neither did we. We didn't go public right away. That was the hardest part. Swallowing the anger, letting them talk, letting them post. Letting them play the victims. My wife hated it, I hated it, but we waited. Then the lawyer sent one email, just one, to the school district, to the church leadership, to my parents, to my brother with attachments, adoption papers, legal documents. The email my mom sent, a formal notice warning against further false claims, and one last page. A signed statement saying that any future attempts to interfere with our family would be met with legal action. No threats, just facts. Then we waited again. The fallout was fast, brutal, and beautiful. The church removed my mom from her volunteer position, quietly at first, then officially. Turns out accusing people of child endangerment without proof doesn't sit well when you're running family programs. People started asking questions. The Facebook post disappeared overnight. My aunt stopped calling. My brother called me once, just once. "You didn't have to go this far," he said. I laughed. "You went far first," I said. "I just finished the trip." He hung up. Then came the final blow. The one I didn't plan. My dad called. Alone. Voice shaking. He told me my mom had been lying to him too, for years, about money, about the will, about things she said I did, things I never said. Turns out that handwritten note about strangers, she added it without his consent. He was furious, humiliated. Done. 2 months later, he rewrote the will. Not in my favor, not in my brother's, but in my kids', both of them, split evenly, with one condition. Any heir who challenged it got nothing. My mom found out the same day we did. She called, screaming, crying, begging. I didn't answer, I didn't need to. Here's the part about karma. The part people don't expect. My mom didn't lose her son that Christmas Eve. She lost everything slowly after. Her image, her control, her church friends, her story. All because she couldn't accept a 6-year-old girl with a glue-covered gift and a big heart. And me. Yeah, I paid too. I paid with guilt, with regret, with years of letting things slide that should have been stopped early. I own that. I still do. But my kids, they're okay. Leela still has that shoebox gift. It sits on her shelf. She keeps little notes in it now. Drawings, secrets, Eli. He knows exactly what he did that night. And he knows I'll never forget it. Every Christmas Eve now, we don't go anywhere. We stay home. We make gifts. And we only invite people who know one simple truth. Family isn't blood. Family is who stands up when it matters. And if you don't get a place at our table, ever again.